Before the biggest race weekend in years, a circuit nobody knows, a hierarchy nobody can predict, a championship with no clear favourite for the first time since before the Marquez era at Ducati. The reigning race winner asked his team for one thing. Not a setup change, not a data debrief, not the kind of technical request that defines how a championship contender prepares between rounds. A Piaggio ape, and Aprilia delivered it to Valentino Rossi's ranch with leopard fur on the inside and a message on the dashboard. Marco is going slowly, but faster than the others. That detail tells you everything about who is arriving in Brazil with the advantage that no lap time can measure. And understanding why mindset matters so much at Goyania starts with understanding what happened in Thailand and what is still unresolved inside the Ducati garage 2 weeks later. Ducati arrive in Brazil with questions they have not had to ask in years. Not about setup, not about tyre, management, about whether they are still the fastest bike on the grid. Francesco Bagnaia said it out loud in the post-race paddock after Thailand. "We are not anymore the fastest." He tried to contain the damage immediately after. "I'm convinced that Ducati will be back where it belongs." But the sentence had already landed. Think about what that actually means coming from a factory Ducati rider, the manufacturer that has not missed a podium in 88 consecutive races, the team that has won every Riders' Championship since 2022, the project that Bagnaia himself helped build into the most dominant force in the sport's recent history. Now publicly admitting the benchmark has shifted. Their champion, Marc Marquez, retired from 4th place with a blown rear tyre, running with a 2024 aerodynamic package because his shoulder cannot handle the load of the 2026 machine under heavy braking. Their two-time world champion finished 9th, passed in the final corners by a satellite rider on the same machinery. The best Ducati on the grid in Thailand was Di Gianantonio in 6th. A VR46 rider, not the factory machine. And now the paddock arrives at a circuit with zero MotoGP data, zero reference laps, and zero accumulated advantage. Which means that everything Ducati built over years of dominance, every simulation, every setup refinement, every tyre model built on real race laps, becomes irrelevant from the moment Friday practice begins. The question of whether Thailand was a one-off or the beginning of a shift cannot be answered in a simulator. It can only be answered here. Before we go any further, if you enjoy real MotoGP analysis, the technology, the politics, the stories behind the headlines, subscribe. Now back to what happened between Thailand and Brazil, and why it matters more than any setup sheet. Because while Ducati spent 2 weeks searching for answers, Aprilia spent 2 weeks doing something else entirely. After his dominant Thailand victory, leading every lap from pole, crossing the line 5 seconds clear of Pedro Acosta, Marco Bezzecchi returned to the VR46 ranch to train for Brazil. And somewhere between riding sessions, he made a joke. He asked Aprilia for a Piaggio ape, not a bonus, not a new RSGP, not a technical debrief request. A 3-wheeled delivery vehicle that tops out at roughly 50 kilometers an hour and is most commonly associated with Italian vegetable markets. Aprilia, owned by the Piaggio Group, sent test rider Lorenzo Savadori to the ranch to deliver one. Painted black with Aprilia racing livery, Bezzecchi's simply the Bez logo above the headlight and leopard fur lining the interior. Massimo Rivola delivered the keys himself. The official Aprilia statement confirmed what the paddock had already sensed. Following his victory at the Thailand Grand Prix, Marco joked about receiving an iconic Piaggio Ape as a gift, and the message stenciled inside the cabin, left there by the team, not by Bezzecchi about Chill, read, "Marco is going slowly, but faster than the others." That is not a team calculating damage control. That is not a team managing internal pressure after a strong result. That is a team that just won 3 races in a row has complete belief in what they have built, and is heading to an unknown circuit with the lightest psychological load of anyone on the grid. Bezzecchi himself confirmed the mood in his pre-Brazil media session. "I'm confident that the work done in Thailand will provide us with a good foundation for working in Brazil as well." And on Marquez, the man Ducati is counting on to produce a championship response. Marc Marquez remains the favourite. He's the strongest, the race winner, on a 3-race streak, still pointing away from himself. Do you think Aprilia can back up Thailand at a circuit with no data? Or does Ducati's greater technical resource give them the edge when everyone starts from zero? Drop it in the comments, because the contrast in paddock atmosphere heading into Goyania is as stark as it has been at the start of any MotoGP season in recent memory. On one side, a manufacturer that has not missed a podium in 88 races now scrambling to understand what happened and why. Running simulations, analysing tyre data, trying to decode a Thailand result that former team boss Guidotti diplomatically called not a drama, while everyone in the paddock knew exactly what it meant. On the other, a team sending customised three-wheelers to their riders' training camp with jokes written inside. Jorge Martin, arriving at his first race since surgery that had left him unable to feed himself, finished 4th in Thailand. "A few months ago, I couldn't even feed myself, and today I finished the race in 4th position," he said. All 4 Aprilia riders in the top 5. The team's internal confidence, already high from 2025's late-season form, has now been validated at the most important race of the year, and they arrive at a circuit where that confidence is worth more than usual. At Goyania, nobody has data, nobody has experience, nobody arrives with a setup built over years of visits. The team that manages the unknown best wins the weekend, and the team that walked into Brazil carrying a Piaggio Api with a message about going slowly, and a rider who still calls Marquez the favourite after 3 consecutive victories, has already told you everything about how they plan to approach it. Will Aprilia's confidence translate at a circuit with no historical MotoGP data? Or does Ducati's engineering depth give them the faster adaptation? Can Bezzecchi make it 4 consecutive victories? Something no Aprilia rider has ever done in MotoGP? And which team do you think reads Goyania most accurately from the very first practice session on Friday morning? If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe. There is a lot more of this coming. Leave your answers in the comments below.